Core compression, standing hip flexion, half circle. Standing hip flexion half circle is a progression from the core compression standing hip flexion exercises. After working on your hip flexor strength in the sagittal plane of motion, you can start to challenge it in frontal and transverse planes with the half circles. You can think of this as working hip flexors, hip abductors and hip extensor muscles as the leg moves through the half circle. Because it's a unilateral exercise, it's also great for structural balance and comparing the left to right. If you're working towards a straddle L-sit or a gymnastics pancake, this is an exercise for you. The height of the elevated surface will depend on the strength of your hip flexors and your posterior chain flexibility. It can be helpful to stretch the hamstrings and adductors between sets. Start by standing slightly off-center to the elevated surface with one foot next to the elevated surface in front of the body. Both the standing leg and the front leg must be straight. Contract your quads and pull the kneecaps up to lock the knees. Often we will bend the knee of the standing leg to cheat the exercise and gain more height. A slight bend is okay, but try your best to keep the leg straight. Before lifting the foot, pull the leg into the back of the hip capsule. To do this, suck the belly button in towards the spine by contracting the hip flexors and the lower abdominals. I explain this a little bit more in the standing hip flexor videos. Now, create tension throughout the body and then lift the foot above the elevated surface. From here, move the leg over the elevated surface and abduct the hip to pull the leg out to the side. As the hip moves into abduction, the hip will also externally rotate. Aim to keep the leg straight and as high as possible. Use your arms to assist with the balance and try to limit the torso lean. From here, continue to pull the hip into extension as you move the leg behind the body and lean the torso forward slightly. As the leg moves behind the body, the rear hip will internally rotate. From here, bring the foot to the floor before starting the next rep. The two main objectives are to keep the legs as straight as you can and to lift the leg as high as you can. Perform the prescribed number of repetitions on one side before repeating on the opposite side. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel.